switching to the, I'm beginning the lecture. I'm switching to our presentation. Dear students, today we will speak about the leadership and power in management. The word power has a lot of meanings in English. Today we are speaking about. Сьогодні ми з вами говоримо про владу, якщо говорити це, якщо перекладати українською мовою. Do you see my presentations at your computers, dear students?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's begin. Generally, I told you that a manager is somebody who has some influence to subordinates. And generally, the power is this possibility, is being able to influence to other people. And this is very important, because a manager's job is to, according to the definition of a manager by Miss Follet, you remember that manager has to do everything through or by another people. So it means that when we are managers, we must influence to other people, to our subordinates, to say, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And these subordinate, the particular subordinate, has to complete some task. And actually, how to influence on everybody. Today we are speaking about it. And there are two main types and 5 main ways to influence on others. And today we are discussing all the types, all the possible ways, and etc. And pro and contras for every way. So generally the question is of the power is connected with the way. How is it possible to make your subordinates to follow your orders? What do you think, dear students? If you want to have something done, Alisa, what do you think? What is the way to influence on your subordinates?
For example, I can encourage them with the results.
How else, Елизавета, what do you think?
Maybe to show that I can to do it, and I can motivate them, and they can to do this.
Okay, but the question is how? The question is how? Okay, let's discuss it. The answer of Alisa was closer. Alisa, please write your surname in our chat. I will provide you the bonus point. Thank you. Generally, the Power and the leadership is the essential skill of the manager. How to motivate the subordinates. And generally, uh, we know that usually under the word motivating we are thinking about only positive incentives, but providing some positive incentive is only one part of power. We will discuss it, but we have four more other ways, types of power and ways of influencing on our subordinates. So generally we have the following types of power. The first is formal, legitimate power. It means that this power is connected with some position. So it means that your subordinate shouldn't even ask why you are issuing the order, because you are the manager. So if you are the manager, you have possibility to issue orders. It is possible for you to say you have to do this to your subordinates. And as it is written here, and as you can read here, so this type of power is connected with a position. So every managerial position has some formal power. And also all the subordinates in the organization has the beliefs that it is correct that if you are a manager, you are issuing some orders. Reward power. It means that you are providing some benefits for completing some tasks. And you must be sure that all the rewards must be valuable for your subordinates. Actually, I put this picture here, but you have to keep in mind that when you are providing some rewards, it shouldn't be only the money reward. There are a lot of rewards, and we will speak about all the rewards during the lectures connected with motivating. But for now, I'd like to stress that there are different types of rewards. Coercive power. It means that it is any manager has the ability to punish the subordinates. Maybe this picture is too tough for managerial activities, but anyway, you can use some penalties, something like that. Expert power means that you as a manager has better understanding the problem, and with the help of this better understanding it is possible to persuade the subordinates to do it, because they believe in you and they expect your expertise. A referent power means that the people maybe they do not understand something, but they believe you, and even maybe they can understand that you do not know everything about the problem, but you will do your best to for example, to provide your organization with the best strategy, and the strategy will be connected with profitability of your company. So in this type of power, you are using your charisma. And generally, there are these 5 types of power can be divided into 2 groups. If speaking about the legitimate power, the reward power, and the coercive power, it is the formal power. And if you have some position in a company, it means that in this situation you will have these types of power. But personal power is connected not with a position, but with your personality. It means that if speaking about expert power, your subordinates have to understand that you are really smart person. And if speaking about the referent power, it means that the subordinates must respect you as a person. So we can say that the power has 2 basic sources: ascribed and achieved. Ascribed means that this is the power not for a person but for a position of the manager. And generally, any manager, when he or she takes some position in a company, he or she has this kind of power. And achieved means that the person in your organization sees you as a manager, he or she believes in you, and he or she respects you. And that's why these subordinate will follow your orders only in this way. And some limitations. You have to keep in mind, first of all, maybe I should add it, that a good manager uses all the types of power. Actually, it doesn't mean that you should use only one types of power. Yes, maybe you should avoid coercive power as a rule. But if speaking about 4 other types of power, you should use all these types of power. So some rules. The first is that the formal reward power and coercive power generally works only if speaking about your subordinates. Because if you say to other person in your organization, not to your subordinates, but maybe to your peers, to the, for example, if you are a manager of one department, and if you come to another department, is it possible to issue some order? Yes, theoretically it is possible, but you cannot use the formal power because you are not the boss for these people, and you cannot use reward or coercive power because it's not possible to punish or to provide some reward for you. So in this case you have to use to other types of power, achieved power. Then, generally, formal power is limited by scope of authority. It means that, okay, you have some department, and you had of this department, you had of this group of people, so you are the boss only for this very group of people. Then reward power is limited by desirability of the reward. It means that the reward must be valuable. We will discuss it. We will discuss it during the motivating. And coercive power leads to the resistance. So you'd better to avoid this type of power. And expert power is limited by the perception of your subordinates. So every person, we know that we all are different, so we generally we have different values, different perceptions, as we discussed during the lectures connected with the characteristics of people. That's why you can have this power to some group of peoples, but maybe you cannot use this type of power with another group of people. And let's speak about what the manager have to do and have not to do when using every type of power. So when you are using the formal power, you should be polite. It means that you shouldn't say, okay, you must do it. You have avoid such orders, but generally, okay, when I was a manager, I worked as a manager for 3 years, so I tried to formulate the order as if I asked the person. So I said, okay, would I kindly ask you to do something? I understand that I'm the boss, and he understood that I was a boss. But generally, it is better not to be very, how to say, very strict. You should do it. You have to do it. Just better to say, please do it. Be specific. It means that you have to everything must be clear. All the tasks must be clear for your subordinates. You can use only your scope of authority. I told you it means that you have to use only, not use, maybe use is bad word, you have to communicate, you have to issue orders only to your subordinates. It's not possible to issue orders to another to the workers of another department. And for example, when I was a vice dean at our faculty, it was very funny story when a person I do not want to mention but he asked me to do something, and I said, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not your subordinate. You have another department, so you can ask somebody from your department. Okay, and you have to require compliance. And what you have to avoid, you cannot ask anything beyond your scope of authority. First of all, it will be unpleasant for you if somebody says you, okay, you are not my boss, so ask somebody who is your subordinate. So first of all, it will be a very unpleasant situation for you as you are a manager. Please avoid being arrogant. Then you have to avoid some needless demands, and you shouldn't bully subordinates. It means that examples, okay, sometimes people, managers use the formal power to check everything. For example, if the working position of some person doesn't need the coming to the working place in time, maybe it's not a very good idea to check it. For example, if the person works okay in a shop as a seller, it is a must that the person has to come in time, because if somebody wishes to buy something, it must be the seller in the shop. But if speaking about some maybe some other task, for example, if somebody works with information, for you as a manager, it will be more important that the work is done within the day. So maybe it's not in this situation, it is not a good idea to ask, okay, why you came later, now it is not 9:00, but it is 9:10. So where have you been all this time? So it's not a good idea. Reward power. It means that you are providing something to your subordinates. And the most important idea is that you have, first of all, you have to be sure that the reward is valuable. It means that the subordinates really want to have this reward. And the second means that authority, you must have the authority to deliver this reward. So, for example, you are the head of the department, and it's not your authority to increase salary for some worker. Yes, it is valuable, but the problem, the question of the salary is connected only with the top management level. For example, it is the situation in our university. So the head of the department cannot increase the salary for a professor or for an assistant professor. For the assistant professor, what you should avoid do. First of all, you should not provide some reward or further reward if it is really impossible to complete the reward. Then everything must be clear and transparent. So you should avoid offering meaningless rewards. Then I told you that it's not possible, it's not a good idea to provide a reward which cannot be delivered by you if the person complete the task. And also it shouldn't be the rewards for improper behavior, and the example of such reward is the bribes. Coercive power. I told you that generally you should avoid this type of power, but if you really think that you should use this type of power, you must be sure that, first of all, you have informed subordinates before. So if the subordinates say, okay, you didn't tell us about this, it's not possible to say that, okay, this is a general rule that you should know everything as about the law in the country. You know, the procedures in the company is not equal to the laws in the country. So you must be sure that you informed your subordinates about all the procedures and about the procedure of punishing. So you should behave fairly, and also you have to stay calm and avoid hostility. What does it mean, avoid hostility? Actually, this is the rule also not for the management functions, managerial functions, but also you should use this rule in your private life. If you has something, some problems with your partner or with your subordinate, you should say that generally I like you, but now we're speaking about not my attitude to you, but now we are speaking about only this problem. Okay, you did a mistake, that's why I have to punish you. Okay, if speaking about the subordinate, certainly, but generally I believe that it will never happen again. So, and generally you should avoid some unpleasant words during this process. And the contrast regarding the coercive power is connected with the mentioned. So first of all, you should avoid the process of punishment without being sure that everybody knew the procedure, and also you have to be sure about the facts. First of all, you have to check everything, all the information, because if you want to punish your subordinates without being sure about the facts, it could be a very unpleasant situation that it was just your mistake. Then it is not possible to it's not possible to use this type of power beyond your authority. It is the same to the reward power. So, and it could be unpleasant situation even for you, when the person says, okay, you are not my boss, so you can punish me, that's all. And also you have to avoid of punishing in public, because it will be a very unpleasant situation for a subordinate, so you'd better not do it. expert power. When you want to use this type of power, you should promote yourself as a clever man, and you should explain everything. You should explain everything even by helping others. And if you solve all the problems within your organization, everybody in your organization will believe that you are really clever manager. And you should avoid overusing of this type of power. And referent power, I told you, it is the power based on your charisma. Actually, this is the most difficult power to be used because this is connected with the personal characteristics of a manager. So you have to accept everybody as they are, and the basis of this type of power is trust. And you should avoid overusing of your subordinates with this type of power. It should be like this, that everybody loves you, so everybody will have to stay they have to stay at the working places after 6 p.m. So they, subordinates, they do not have to feel any inconveniences. They maybe do not want to upset you. That's why they are staying, or they are doing something beyond the position. You should avoid it. And as an outcome from the today's lecture, I'd like to stress that anyway, managers have to influence on subordinates. Then there are two types of power. The first type of power is connected with a position. The formal power, and the formal power includes coercive power, reward power, and legitimate power. And the second source of power is your personality. So you have to use expert power and referent power for this purpose. Okay, I'm stopping the recording and we are switching to the discussion.